Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I really appreciate this incredibly important discussion. There are numerous areas that need to be examined to better understand the failure of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. But first, I want to thank you and the boards of the FDIC and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Secretary for your leadership, ultimately bringing the resolution needed to stabilize the banking system and protect depositors. I had text messages and emails and phone calls from constituents and from people across Colorado who were absolutely terrified that they were going to lose everything and that they were going to be unable to make payroll. So while the response took some time, and I think it did foster a lot of misinformation being spread, ultimately, thank you so much for doing what was necessary to protect our economy. But we're, of course, here today because we want to make sure that we're learning from what could have been done better and evaluating what we need to do in changing times. And I think that one of the most challenging issues that each of us face in this committee and for all of you is how we adjust our regulations and responses in a time when information spreads like wildfire, and in this case created a panic across our system and threatened our entire economy. Previously, a bank run would take days. In 2008, Washington Mutual saw over $16 billion in withdrawals over 10 days. With SVB, the bank run happened in a matter of hours, with a record $42 billion being withdrawn in a single day. And while SVB clearly wasn't managing their risk and was not listening to the warnings from the FDIC, I don't think any bank could have survived a run like this. And so, Mr. Grunberg, knowing that this panic occurred through social media in response to the suggestion that not all depositors would be protected when the FDIC took over SVB, what lessons can regulators take from this to improve their public communication when a future bank fails, and knowing how quickly depositors can immediately move their money in this new technological age? And specifically, I know you're going to take time, and we'll hear a lot more about this in the future. But what do you think is needed to expedite the responses necessary to mitigate something like this from happening again?
Well, to prevent it from happening again really raises all the supervisory and regulatory issues we've been talking about this morning. I do think in regard to deposit insurance, we should do more and perhaps a better job of explaining to the public how deposit insurance works, what is covered, what is not covered, what are the options available to people when they open a bank account. And I think that would also be one of the reasons to undertake this overall review of the deposit insurance system to see what changes might be considered that would be helpful to the public.
Great, thank you for that. And last, Vice Chair Barr, in just a couple of weeks, we've seen these two bank failures. We've seen efforts to prop up First Republic Bank, and we've also seen issues with Credit Suisse and the Deutsche Bank in Germany. I'm still getting questions from people in my district who are concerned. And so what message do you have for them, for our constituents and small businesses, to reassure them that our financial system is stable and that their money is secure?
Well, I think that's an excellent point. I know when many of you talk to banks, in your own in districts, they're telling you the same thing, which is that banks are sound and resilient. I think if you look at the actions we took a couple and a half weeks ago, those actions demonstrate that we're committed to ensuring that all deposits are safe. We're prepared to use those tools for any size institution as needed, if appropriate, to keep the system safe and sound. So the basic message is that the banking system is sound and resilient.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I yield back, and congratulations, since I'm the last one.